Good morning, class. We are finishing up our chapter on flour, lumber, and iron today. Remember, we talked about how next week we might introduce the activity this morning if we have time. Otherwise, we'll do that on Monday. And then we're planning on having the test on Friday. I've already had a couple people come up and tell me we're not going to be here next week, Friday. So we're making plans to take the test on Thursday. So make sure you're checking. The test is on Friday, so if you're going to miss Friday, we'll get your test in on Thursday. And if I just have too many people down, we might just push everything up and move the test to Thursday, but I would like to have a day of review. We usually do like a trivia day. I would like to be able to do that, and with Wednesday being an art day, we don't have social studies. So trying to figure all that out. All right, industrialization. What is industrialization? Ryan?
The process of developing large-scale mechanical factories.
The process of developing large-scale mechanical factories. So industrialization was making the large factories, no longer the little small shops in the towns. Now it's big factories. Industry. Sam?
A specific branch of business that can provide a product or service.
It's that specific branch. Our title for our chapter is flour, lumber, iron. Those are specific industries, specific businesses. So they are their industries. Who is an industrialist, Ethan? It's the owner or manager of the big business. We have the IST, so we know it's the person. And it's the person who is in the industry. The industrialist is the owner. What does it mean to invest, Julian?
To put money into something offering potential profit.
Yeah, put money into something that you're wanting to get a lot of money out of. You want that profit. Remember, when you invest, there is a risk. You put a lot of money in, you're hoping to get a lot of money out, but it could be a bad investment. You could lose money. So you want to make sure that you are planning and that you're making smart choices so you can get a good return on your money. You can get a lot of money. What is a bushel?
The measurement of an agricultural crop that is 1.25
Cubic feet.
Yeah.
So it's that measurement of 1.25 cubic feet. Because it's cubed, think about a cube, that's like a dice. So we know it's got the volume to it. It's not measuring from one end of the room to the other. That's a plane, that's flat measurement. This is the cube, we've got the volume. So it is measuring the crops, so measuring your produce. Okay. Iron ore, Ryan.
Rock or material from which iron can be removed.
Yeah, it's that rock. When you go out into nature, you can find that rock or the mineral that you can take the iron out of. So up north on the Iron Range, there's a lot of iron ore. All right, let's see. We started reading about the iron ore yesterday. Who remembers what we were learning about with the iron ore yesterday? Anybody remember? Garrison?
Well, I know that there's like three parts of it. There's like one person who mined it, one person like had control of some like the railroads, and then someone had like a steel company.
Yep, so we had talked with lumber about how Frederick Weyerhaeuser had kind of taken over the whole lumber process. So he had the land and the trees and the sawmill and the railroads. With the lumber, it was three people that divvied up each section. So, what's his first name? Henry Oliver is the one that had all of the mines, the iron ore mines. Then we had Rockefeller had the railroads. And then, with the lumber, it was really the railroads that tied into it. So he did have oil, but that didn't tie into the lumber industry. So Rockefeller had the railroads, and then Carnegie had the steel factory where he turned that iron into steel. So they divvied it up and they each really capitalized on their section of it. So let's look at page 230 and find out the iron mining industry essentials. Most of Minnesota's iron ore country was less than 100 miles away from Lake Superior. We've already talked about how it's up north by Duluth. Trains hauled iron from the mines to the lake. From there, large ships carried the ore to steel mills in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Being close to Lake Superior was just part of Minnesota's success in iron mining. Also essential were heavy machinery and people to operate the equipment. Most important of all was the state's large supply of iron ore as a natural resource. So think about Lake Superior, that's a Great Lake. All 5 Great Lakes are connected. So we can go from Lake Superior all the way through. So that's how we were easily able to get it to the steel factories in Pennsylvania. So they just loaded that iron onto the big boats and they carried it through the lakes. Natural resources. Minnesota's state geologists first reported finding iron ore in the northeastern part of the state in 1865. It wasn't until the 1890s, though, that the true magnitude of Minnesota's iron wealth became clear. In 1890, brothers Leonidas and Alfred Merritt discovered that parts of the Mesabi Hills north of Duluth were covered with soft grains of iron ore that could be shoveled up like dirt. They had found the ore deposits of what would soon be called the Mesabi Range. As it turned out, the Mesabi, along with the smaller Vermilion and Cuyuna ranges, formed one of the largest masses of high-grade iron ore in the world. It was considered high-grade because the ore contained a high percentage of iron. While it was valuable, it was also expensive to produce. So we talked about the Mesabi Range, Mesabi meaning giant. So there's the giant range, and then there's 2 smaller ranges. So they all combine together because they're all by each other. So we have the Mesabi, the Vermilion, and the Cuyuna. All 3 of them are iron ore ranges here in Minnesota. What is iron ore and why is it important? Just like productive farmland, water power, and trees, iron ore is an important natural resource in Minnesota. It can be found in rock and in layers of sediment. Geological forces created deposits of iron ore in different parts of northern Minnesota. On the Vermilion and Cuyuna ranges, layers of rock deep beneath the Earth's surface contained veins of iron ore. There, underground mines were needed to extract the ore from the rock. On the Mesabi Range, the ore lay close to the surface in a soft layer. Mesabi mines were called open pit mines because miners worked from the surface, digging down into the ore. Once the ore was collected, it was shipped off for processing. At this stage, the iron was separated from the unwanted impurities. This pure iron was then used as an ingredient to make steel, a metal prized for its strength and long life. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, steel was in high demand to build skyscrapers, automobiles, and railroads. Minnesota's iron ore helped the United States become an industrial world power in the 1900s. So Minnesota played a key role in all of the industry that was booming in that early 1900s. So Minnesota is very important. Machines. To be profitable, iron mining required an enormous investment in heavy machinery and transportation. Before the mining companies could make any money, they had to build railroads to haul the iron ore to Lake Superior. There, they had to construct ore loading docks along the lakeshore in Duluth. 2 harbors and Superior, Wisconsin. So they had to construct the ore loading docks along the lakeshore in Duluth, 2 harbors, and Superior, Wisconsin. So those 3 areas, they needed to have the special docks. They also had to build a fleet of ships to carry the ore across the Great Lakes. As technology improved, the equipment used for mining and transporting ore changed. At first, they used massive steam-powered shovels to dig the ore out of the open pit mines and steam-powered trains to haul the ore to Lake Superior. As technology progressed, electric shovels replaced the steam shovels, and trains with diesel engines replaced the steam trains. So as technology got better, they were able to get better machines to make the process go more efficiently. The Merritt family of Duluth. The Merritt brothers of Duluth were among the first people to take a financial risk on Minnesota's iron ore deposits. The family had already made some profits in the logging industry. They believed they could strike it rich if they could find large deposits of valuable iron ore. Leonidas, Alfred, and the rest of the brothers searched for years for the ore deposits in the hills of northeastern Minnesota. After discovering rich iron ore deposits in 1890, they made a small fortune. Within a few years, however, they lost most of the money they had made. John D. Rockefeller eventually took over control of the Merritt's iron mining operations. They sued him for fraud, but in the end received only enough money to pay off their creditors. So, did they make the profit like Rockefeller made a profit?
No.
No. Sometimes when you make that investment, it's a risk. Rockefeller it paid off for, but the Merritts lost control to Rockefeller, so they didn't get that big payout like he got. So there's always risks when you make those investments. People. Minnesota's iron mining industry depended heavily on the investments of Minnesotans, such as the Merritt brothers and out-of-state industrialists such as Henry Oliver, but it needed more than money. It also needed the labor of thousands of people, most of them recent immigrants. These workers put their lives at risk to make a living working in a dangerous open pit and underground mines on the Mesabi, Vermilion, and Cuyuna ranges. The mining company that bore Henry Oliver's name grew in the years after he made his agreement with John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. In 1901, it became a part of a much larger company called U.S. Steel. Still, the mining business in Minnesota continued to operate under the Oliver name for more than 50 years. The flour milling, lumber, and iron mining industries continued to drive Minnesota's economy well into the 1900s. Abundant natural resources, technological innovations, hardworking people, and money to invest were all essential for creating a thriving business economy in Minnesota. We still have the agriculture, we still have the farms, but we also have the industries. So in the bigger cities, there's the bigger factories. Out in the western and southern parts of the state, you'll see a lot more of the agriculture, a lot more of the farming. So we're kind of balanced out between both. So we can see that our next section is called Picturing Working Life. So in this section, there's going to be a lot of real life pictures. Pictures help describe and tell what life was like. So when we observe the pictures and we really look at the pictures for their details, we can see what life was like during this time in these factories. So as you're flipping through, they have different pictures that you're going to read about. And there's different questions for the pictures to get you thinking about your pictures and about factory life. I'm going to actually open up the assignment that I had set up for Monday. We're going to open it up for today so we can get started on it today, because I think we might be moving things up next week. Because I have a lot of people going to be gone on Friday. So, and I don't like doing tests on Friday. So I'm going to open up Monday's assignment today. And our assignment is going to be using this section on our pictures. So what we're going to do is you're going to read this section, read the questions, and really think about what it's telling you about the pictures. Then we have you're going to do this online. You're going to type in the answer. So each picture there has the question to it. Step 2, what is going on here? That's in the section that we're reading. You're going to write about it. Answer that question. What's happening in that picture? What's going on? Step 3, who is involved? So look at step 3. It's talking about who's involved. So write the answer. So for each of the steps of each of those photographs, you're going to type in what's going on in that section. And then our last section is the big part. You can make this as you can get into this as much as you want. Some of us are going to really like it. Some of us are not going to be too creative, but I want you to really think about it. It says, what is the story of the photograph? Now, based on the clues you uncovered through those first steps that you were answering, you're going to write a short story from the perspective of somebody who was there. So you're going to put yourself in place of somebody who is actually working at one of these factories. And you're going to tell a story of your life. It's a short story, so it doesn't have to be 5 paragraphs long. Okay, it could be just a couple of paragraphs. Should it be more than 5 sentences? Most definitely. Put some details into it. Look at the answers that you gave up top. You need to make sure that you include the what, the who, the where, the when, and the why into your story. So it's not going to be a science fiction story. This is a realistic fiction. It's based on the facts. So think about the story that you're reading about. Think about the people that you're reading about in this section. And you're going to really start writing a story based on their lives. Sam?
Is this due on Monday?
It is not due Monday. It is due Wednesday. So I'm giving it to us early. Some of us can want to work on it over the weekend. We have some class time to start working on it now. We will have class time on Monday to work on it. We are not partnering up. It's your story. We're not sharing stories. You're going to write your own story. You're going to do it on the Google Doc. It must be submitted by Monday morning. Okay? Or sorry, not Monday. Wednesday morning. My mistake. It must be submitted by Wednesday morning. We will have class time on Monday to go through and make sure you don't have spelling mistakes, you don't make grammar problems, and that you're fully using all of those pieces. The what, the who, the where, the when, and the why. Justin?
So it's just like any of the pictures here.
We'll go through the pictures, and you're going to do step by step. When it says step 2, that's when you're going to write the answer to step 2. Step 3 on the pages is going to help you answer step 3. And then you're going to become a person of the 1890s working in one of these factories. And you're going to decide what your story is. Okay. So for my friends at home, we miss you. We hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. I am opening up the assignment, so it does say it is under Monday, next week Monday, but I opened it up now, so you have access to Monday's assignment today, so you can get a head start. It's not due till Wednesday, but get started on it now.